You don't need more time. You need a better attitude toward time. Laziness is not a disease. It's a decision to ignore your potential, a decision to sleep on your greatness, a decision to settle for mediocrity when excellence is available. You weren't born lazy. You became lazy through habits, excuses, and comfort, and just like it started, it can end. Today, laziness is sneaky. It hides behind phrases like "I'm tired," "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I need to feel motivated." But success doesn't care how you feel. It responds to effort, to discipline, to action. Uzafark, let me tell you the truth. You can either suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret, and the pain of regret is heavier. It stays longer. It whispers what if when you're too old to act. Killing laziness starts with small decisions. Decide to wake up 30 minutes earlier. Decide to read instead of scroll. Decide to take responsibility instead of shifting blame. Your future self is watching you now, and it's either going to thank you or hate you. So stop waiting to feel ready. Just start. Move. Take the smallest step forward. Don't wait for opportunity. Work for opportunity. Work for it. Don't hope for motivation. Create it through momentum. Your mind was made for progress, not pause. You were not made to live at 40% of your capacity. You were not designed for Netflix marathons and excuses. You were built for something greater. So the next time laziness calls, let your vision answer. Because when the mission is strong enough, the mood becomes irrelevant. Laziness is a decision, not a condition. It's not something you're born with. It's not written in your DNA. It's not a permanent flaw. It's a pattern, a habit, a choice made one small moment at a time. And the good news is, if it's a decision, it's also reversible. You can choose discipline over delay. You can choose purpose over passivity. You can choose to act even when you don't feel like it, because that's what separates achievers from dreamers. Not talent, not luck, but decisions made daily, repeated consistently. Laziness is sneaky. It pretends to protect you. It says rest now, you'll do it later. But it lies. It steals opportunity. It trades your potential for temporary comfort. And every time you listen to it, it gets stronger. But every time you resist it, you grow stronger. You don't kill laziness with one dramatic move. You kill it with repetition, with structure, with habits that don't ask how you feel. They just get done. Laziness hates discipline because discipline keeps showing up, rain or shine. It doesn't wait for inspiration. It creates momentum through action. You weren't made to live in neutral. You weren't designed to float through life half awake. You were built to move, to create, to build, to push boundaries. And that fire inside you, it doesn't die because of failure. It dies because of inaction. Laziness slowly buries ambition. One skipped task at a time. One excuse at a time. But just as easily, discipline resurrects it. One small win at a time. One early morning. One workout. One focused hour. And from there, momentum builds. Laziness loses power when you stop negotiating with it. When you stop saying a maybe later and start saying a now. Now is when you decide. Now is when change begins. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Push through it. Growth never happens in the easy places. It's not born from routine or safety. It's forged in discomfort, in the moments you want to quit but choose to continue. Comfort whispers, stay where it's safe. Growth shouts, step into the unknown. You can't evolve while clinging to convenience. You can't discover new strength while avoiding challenge. Comfort wants you stagnant. Growth demands that you stretch, and stretching hurts. That's the point. That's how muscles grow. That's how character forms. That's how confidence is built, not by staying the same, but by becoming something more. Every time you choose ease over effort, you trade your future for your present. You delay the person you could become. Comfort tells you to sleep in. Growth tells you to rise with purpose. Comfort tells you to wait. Growth tells you to move, even when you're afraid. The longer you stay comfortable, the more you resist change. And the more you resist change, the more you stay stuck. You weren't made to settle. You were made to expand, to reach, to risk, to fail forward. But that only happens when you challenge your limits. You must lean into the tension. Do the hard thing. Face the resistance. Because on the other side of resistance is transformation. It's not talent that builds greatness. It's discomfort tolerated with consistency. That uneasy conversation you're avoiding, that task you keep delaying, that workout, that book, that business idea, all of them live outside your comfort zone. And that's where your growth is waiting. Not inside your habits, but outside them. Not where it feels safe, but where it feels real. Growth is uncomfortable by nature. It's not supposed to feel good at first, but it will feel right. Because deep down, you know, you weren't made to coast. You were made to climb. Excuses are just disguised fear or resistance. They sound logical. They sound safe. They sound like reasons. But they are fear in costume, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of effort, fear of success. Resistance doesn't come loudly. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It says, you're not ready. It says, you don't have time. It says, you don't know enough. But all those words, all those delays are masks hiding the truth. And the truth is, you're scared, not always in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, paralyzing way. Scared of change, scared of the unknown, scared of becoming more because that demands more. So you tell yourself things that sound noble. I need to plan more. I'll do it when I'm more confident. Yeah, I'm just being realistic. But what you're really doing is hiding. Hiding behind comfort. Hiding behind routine. Hiding behind words that make delay feel justified. Excuses keep you in place. They let you avoid discomfort. But they also rob you of growth. Every excuse you make is a brick in the wall between you and your potential. And here's the hard truth. You can't build a great life on a foundation of fear. Progress begins when honesty begins. When you stop blaming time, stop blaming people, stop blaming conditions, and start facing the fear underneath. Fear doesn't go away when you avoid it. It grows. But when you act, even while afraid, it loses power. You don't need perfect conditions. You need courage. You don't need a better excuse. You need a better reason to keep going. Resistance will always be there, but you can rise above it. You can choose action over avoidance. You can choose ownership over excuse. And that's the beginning of everything. Discipline brings rewards. Laziness brings regret. It's that simple. One path builds, the other destroys. Discipline is hard, yes, but so is regret. You just feel the pain at different times. Discipline shows up early. It asks for effort now. It demands sacrifice. It makes you sweat. It makes you stretch. It tests your patience. But in return, it gives you something real. It gives you progress. It gives you peace. It gives you pride. And in time, it gives you freedom. Because discipline builds habits. Habits shape routines. Routines shape lives. And before you know it, you're becoming the person you dreamed of. But laziness, it's a smooth talker. It promises rest. It promises comfort. It tells you you've got time. It says, relax just this once. But laziness always collects a fee. And it's paid in regret. Regret for missed chances. Regret for wasted time. Regret for the strength you never developed, for the goals you abandoned. Regret doesn't shout, it whispers, late at night, in the quiet moment. It reminds you of what could have been. And here's the truth, no one escapes the consequences. You either feel the burn of discipline now, or the weight of regret later. You either invest your time, or you spend it carelessly. Discipline may feel heavy in the moment, but it lightens your future. Laziness may feel light right now, but it adds weight to your soul. Every decision you make either feeds discipline or fuels regret, and you always get the bill. So choose wisely. Choose the pain that leads somewhere. Choose the effort that builds something. Because the small things you do today become the big results you live with tomorrow. You must act before you feel motivated. That's the secret no one tells you. Motivation doesn't come first. Action does. Most people wait for a spark. They wait for the perfect feeling, for inspiration to strike, for the stars to align. But high performers don't wait. They move, even when they don't feel like it, especially when they don't feel like it, because they know action creates momentum, and momentum generates motivation, not the other way around. Think about it. When you sit still, your energy fades. Your thoughts spiral. You overthink, you hesitate, you wait. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets. But when you start, even if it's clumsy, even if it's small, you create motion, and motion fuels emotion. One small task, one tiny step, one decision to do what needs to be done. Suddenly your brain engages, your energy rises, you feel more capable, and that's when motivation shows up. It doesn't lead, it follows. Successful people don't rely on mood, they rely on routine. They don't depend on feeling good, they focus on doing what's necessary. Because they understand this truth. If you only act when you feel motivated, you'll rarely act at all. You can't afford to wait for perfect conditions. You can't let feelings control your future. You must lead yourself. Through discipline, through decision, through daily effort. The hardest part is the beginning, getting out of bed. Opening the book, lacing up your shoes, starting the conversation. But once you begin, the rest becomes easier because you've already overcome the biggest resistance, inaction. You must act to awaken the drive. You must move to activate your mind. You must choose to begin, even when you don't feel ready, because readiness comes after the action, not before. Small, consistent habits kill laziness over time, not grand gestures, not sudden bursts of motivation, not overnight transformations. Oh, but quiet, repeated effort, daily choices that seem small in the moment, but compound into massive change. Laziness doesn't fall in a single strike. It dies through routine. It dies when you show up again and again, regardless of how you feel. Because when something becomes a habit, it no longer requires motivation. It becomes automatic. You don't think about brushing your teeth. You don't debate taking a shower. They're built in. That's how powerful habits are. And that's the strategy turned discipline into rhythm, into something you do without argument, without delay. Small habits don't look like much. 10 minutes of reading, 5 minutes of journaling, one walk around the block, but they build identity. They tell your brain, this is who I am now, not someone who talks, but someone who does. Every time you follow through, even on a small action, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. And laziness? It hates consistency. It wants chaos. It thrives on unpredictability. When you do something different every day, laziness sneaks in. But when you have a system, it gets pushed out. There's no room for it. No space for excuses because habit becomes stronger than hesitation. You don't need to do everything all at once. Just one thing. Repeated until it becomes part of you. Small wins, stacked day after day. They change your momentum. They shift your identity. They destroy the story that says, I'm lazy, and replace it with a new truth. I follow through. This is how transformation works. Not in loud moments, but in quiet routines, in boring consistency, in unglamorous discipline. And slowly, laziness fades, replaced by strength, by control, by progress that can't be taken away. Laziness is often disguised as I'll do it later. It sounds harmless. It even feels responsible, like you're making a decision, not avoiding one. But behind those 4 words hides the thief of progress. I'll do it later is how dreams are delayed, how time is wasted, how potential quietly slips away. Because later turns into never more often than we realize. We convince ourselves we're just taking a break, just waiting for a better time, just resting for a moment. But that moment stretches, that break becomes a habit, and soon the opportunity is gone. Laziness doesn't always look like doing nothing. Sometimes it looks like endless planning, like scrolling with intention, like pretending to prepare when really you're just postponing. And each time you say, I'll do it later, you're feeding the habit of delay. You're teaching your brain that avoiding action is acceptable. Excuses are valid. And once that pattern is in place, it grows stronger. Procrastination is comfortable. It gives you the illusion of control. You feel like you're managing your time, but you're really surrendering it. You're pushing progress out of reach and telling yourself it's a strategy. But the truth is simple. What you delay decays. Goals don't stay fresh forever. Energy doesn't stay high forever. Opportunities don't wait. I'll do it later is a promise most people never keep, because the longer you wait, the heavier the task feels. The more your mind resists it, the more guilt piles up. And guilt drains energy even further. It becomes a cycle, one that only ends when you break the lie, when you recognize the disguise, when you stop waiting and start doing. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to act. Even if it's one small step, even if it's messy, even if it's hard. Because once you begin, the lie loses power. Once you take control, laziness retreats. Fuck do it later becomes I'm doing it now. And that shift changes everything. Success responds to effort, not emotion. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't wait for your mood to improve. It doesn't pause because you're tired, unmotivated, or uncertain. Success listens to action. Not feelings, not excuses, not intentions. Only consistent effort creates results. You can be sad and still show up. You can be tired and still make progress. You can feel doubt and still take the next step. Because feelings are temporary, but the work you do leaves a permanent mark. Emotion may change day to day, but discipline must stay constant. One day you feel inspired, the next you don't. But both days matter. Both days count, and success rewards the person who moves forward, no matter the weather inside. You can't build a life based on feelings. You build it with habits, with consistency, with choices made when it's hard, not just when it's easy. If you only act when you feel good, you'll rarely act at all. You'll wait. And while you wait, others who chose discipline will pass you by. Not because they were smarter, not because they had more, but because they kept showing up. Effort builds momentum. Effort sharpens skill. Effort creates trust in yourself. It's the grind that leads to greatness, not the mood. Not the moment of excitement, but the daily effort, the quiet push, the refusal to quit. Success doesn't care how inspired you were yesterday. It asks, what did you do today? Did you show up? Did you work when it was boring? Did you push through when it got tough? Those are the questions that matter. Those are the answers that shape your future. Emotion can guide your passion, but only effort delivers your purpose. Success is built in silence, when no one's watching, when it's just you, your choices, and your commitment. It's earned in the early hours, the late nights, and the moments when quitting feels easier than continuing. So don't wait to feel good. Don't wait to be ready. Start now. Work through the discomfort. Because success isn't emotional. Its earned future regrets are built in today's laziness. The choices you avoid today become the pain you carry tomorrow. It doesn't feel like much right now. Skipping a task, delaying a decision, choosing comfort over effort. It feels small, innocent, but laziness is never isolated. It compounds, it grows silently. Each moment you choose to do nothing, something inside you quietly withers. Potential fades, opportunities drift by unnoticed. You don't feel the weight today, but one day you'll look back and wish you had started sooner. Wish you had pushed through the resistance. Wish you had taken the small steps when they were in front of you. Because laziness doesn't just steal time. It steals possibility. It steals confidence. It steals the version of you that could have existed. And regret? Regret is a heavy thing. It doesn't shout. It whispers. In quiet moments. In the stillness of night. When you remember what you could have been. What you could have done. Who you could have become. And it hurts. Because deep down you knew. You knew you were capable. You knew the steps to take. But you waited. And waiting became a way of life. The truth is, laziness is expensive. It doesn't cost you money. It costs you time. It costs you energy. It costs you your future. Every moment spent avoiding your responsibilities is a seed planted for future pain. Because you don't escape the consequences. You just delay them. And when they arrive, they come heavier. So if you want a life free from regret, start now. Do the hard thing. Choose discipline over delay. Consistency over comfort, action over apathy, because your future is being built right now, not someday, not when it's convenient, but in the ordinary decisions of today. And what you build or fail to build will either reward you or haunt you. The version of you 5 years from now will either say a thank you or a why didn't you try. Make that choice count, because regret is preventable. But only if you act before it's too late. Doug, you're capable of far more. Demand more from yourself. You were not made to live at half speed. You were not designed for average. There is more in you, more strength, more discipline, more talent, more potential than you've been using. But potential without demand becomes wasted energy. It stays locked inside, dormant, unrealized, and over time, it becomes frustration. You feel it, that sense that you could do more, be more. But for that to happen, something has to change. You have to raise your standards. Stop settling for a good enough. Stop accepting excuses from yourself. Stop saying an empowering and start saying, I will. Because every time you demand more, you grow. You push limits. You discover new parts of yourself. You build a stronger mindset. Growth doesn't come from doing what's comfortable. It comes from doing what's required, from expecting excellence, from showing up fully even when it's hard. Most people coast. They do just enough to get by. But you are not most people. You are built for more. So demand more effort. That meant more consistency, more self-control. Don't ask if it's easy. Ask if it's worth it. Because you'll never rise higher than your expectations. If you demand little, you'll produce little. If you demand discipline, you'll build power. That greatness inside you, it's not unlocked with wishes. It's released through pressure, through standards, through daily decisions that say, this is who I am now. You have another level. You have untapped energy. But you'll only find it when you stop treating effort like an option. Demand better focus. Demand stronger habits. Demand accountability. Hold yourself to the fire. Because that's where transformation happens. No one can do it for you. No one can want it more than you do. It starts with a choice to stop underperforming, to stop tolerating mediocrity in your life, to stop waiting for motivation and start showing up with intention. You're capable of far more, but you'll only see it when you expect it and demand it from yourself every single day. So from this moment on, stop waiting, stop doubting, stop living below your potential. Look in the mirror and decide, I'm done playing small. I'm done making excuses. I'm done living half alive. Because the life you want, the strength you admire, the greatness you're chasing, it's already inside you. But it won't come out on its own. You have to demand it. Work for it. Become it. Start today. Start now. And don't stop until your actions match your potential. Because once you demand more from yourself, everything around you will rise to meet you.